All right, so let's unpack something really relevant to you, not just as a public servant, but as someone who makes a difference in the lives of Canadians every single day.
Mm,
Cybersecurity.
yeah.
We've got this GC Enterprise Cybersecurity Strategy, freshoffcanada.ca.
Okay.
And it's way more interesting than it sounds, I promise. This
It-
isn't just a bunch of tech jargon. This is about how we protect the vital services
right.
Canadians rely on.
What's fascinating here is how this strategy connects the dots between cybersecurity and the real impact on people's lives.
Okay, I'm all ears because I know a lot of us in the public service might think cybersecurity isn't that IP's job.
Yeah.
But this document says something different right off the bat.
Right.
It starts with a message from the president of the Treasury Board.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about bits and bytes.
It really sets the tone by emphasizing that the safety and security of Canadians is paramount.
Right.
And guess what underpins that?
What?
Robust cybersecurity.
Oh, good.
We can't deliver essential services if our systems are compromised.
So it's about way more than just preventing data breaches.
Right.
It's about making sure Canadians can access healthcare benefits.
Yes.
File their taxes, get the services they depend on without worrying about their information being at risk.
Exactly. And that need for security is only growing, especially with Canada's Digital Ambition 2022.
Right.
This push for modernized, accessible digital tools is fantastic, but it also expands the landscape we need to secure.
More digital services mean more potential points of vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's like building a bigger house. You need stronger locks on all those extra doors and windows.
And it's not just about locking things down.
Right.
The strategy highlights this really crucial point.
Yeah.
We have to find that sweet spot between robust security and making those services easy for Canadians to use.
Right, because what good is a super secure system if nobody can figure out how to access it? We can't forget about the people on the other end.
Exactly. So where are we falling short right now? The strategy uses this tool called the TBS Cyber Maturity Self-Assessment, or CMSA for short.
Got it.
It's basically a way for departments to gauge how they're doing in terms of cybersecurity.
So kind of like a report card for each department's cybersecurity practices.
Exactly.
Are we all getting straight A's?
Well, not quite.
Okay.
The strategy reveals some gaps, and this is where it gets really interesting for those of us working on the ground.
Right.
For example, there's a varying level of cyber maturity across different departments. Some are more advanced than others, and that creates weaknesses across the whole system.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like a team where not everyone's on the same page.
Right.
You might have some folks who are cybersecurity pros, but if others aren't keeping up, the whole team is vulnerable.
A perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And the strategy points out some other challenges, too.
Okay.
There's inconsistent understanding and investment in cybersecurity across departments,
Okay.
meaning not everyone is seeing the big picture.
And I bet relying on older technology, what they call legacy systems, doesn't help either.
Right.
We've all struggled with clunky old programs that seem to crash every other day.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine what a hacker could do with those.
You're hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Those legacy systems can be real weak points.
Okay.
And then there's the move to cloud computing.
Right.
While the cloud offers amazing benefits, it also introduces new security challenges that we need to be prepared for.
Okay, so we've got this mix of outdated systems, new technology we're still figuring out, and maybe not everyone understanding the risks.
Yeah.
That sounds like a recipe for trouble.
It can be, and the strategy doesn't shy away from that.
Okay.
It even points out a lack of comprehensive awareness of the overall cyber threat environment. Basically, some departments might not be fully grasping just how serious and widespread these threats are.
So what's the game plan?
Right.
How do we fix this and make sure we're doing everything we can to protect those essential services Canadians rely on?
Well, the strategy lays out 4 strategic objectives to build a more secure future. And this is where it gets really action-oriented for public servants.
Let's hear them. What's step 1?
First up is articulating cybersecurity risks and their business impacts.
Okay.
We're not just talking about abstract tech threats here.
Right.
This is about understanding how a cyber attack could specifically impact your department's work and the citizens you serve.
So let's say I work in a department that handles passport applications. If there's a cyber attack, suddenly people can't travel.
Right.
Businesses are disrupted.
Yeah.
Families are separated.
That's
real world stuff.
Exactly. It's about connecting the dots between cybersecurity and the real impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the second objective, which is preventing and resisting those attacks more effectively.
All right, so what's the strategy here? Are we building digital fortresses around our data?
In a way, yes. But it's more than just technology. It's
Wow.
about fostering a culture of security
So
awareness.
making sure everyone from the front desk staff to the
Yeah.
IT specialist understands the importance of strong passwords,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing phishing scams, and reporting suspicious activity.
Exactly. It's about building a human firewall, if you will, where everyone is vigilant and playing their part.
Hmm.
And when attacks do happen, because let's face it, some are inevitable, we
Right,
need
yeah.
to be ready to respond and recover swiftly.
Okay, so that's objective number 3. Being prepared to bounce back quickly and minimize disruptions to those vital services we talked about.
Right.
What about the 4th objective?
The fourth one is all about people.
Okay.
It emphasizes the need for a diverse GC workforce with the right skills, knowledge, and culture to tackle cybersecurity challenges head-on.
That makes sense. We need experts who can build and maintain these systems.
Yeah.
But we also need everyone in the public service to understand the basics and be part of the solution.
Absolutely. It's a team effort, and the success of this strategy hinges on all of us working together.
So it sounds like this document is calling for a whole-of-government approach, right?
Precisely, it calls out key players like the Treasury Board of Canada's Secretariat,
Okay.
the Communications Security Establishment, Shared Services Canada, and of course, every single department and agency.
Right.
We all have a part to play in building a more secure and resilient government.
All right, so we've got the big picture, the challenges, and the goals.
Yeah.
But how does this actually translate into action? What are some concrete examples of what this strategy means for public servants on the ground?
That's where things get even more interesting. Let's delve into some of those specifics right after a quick break. One example that stands out is the call for standardized security clauses in contracts with third-party suppliers.
Okay, so remind me why that matters so much. It sounds kind of bureaucratic.
Think about it. How many departments use external companies for things like IT support data storage,
Oh, yeah.
even processing citizen applications?
Quite a few, I imagine.
Exactly. And if those third-party providers don't have strong security measures in place, it creates a vulnerability for the entire government. It's like having a state-of-the-art security system at your office, but leaving the back door wide open.
So these clauses are basically saying, hey, if you want to work with us, you need to meet these security standards.
Exactly.
No exceptions.
It's about creating a consistent level of security across the board, ensuring that everyone handling government information, even external partners,
Right.
is playing by the same rules.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
It's about protecting Canadians' information no matter where it goes.
right.
What else does the strategy highlight?
Another key action is implementing secure, modern, and accessible workplace tools and devices.
Okay.
This means giving public servants the tools they need to do their jobs effectively while keeping information safe.
So we're talking things like government-issued laptops with up-to-date security software,
Yes.
secure collaboration platforms for sharing information, and, of course, good old-fashioned password hygiene.
And this isn't just about ticking boxes. It's about empowering public servants to work efficiently and securely,
Right.
which ultimately benefits Canadians. Imagine trying to help someone access a vital service, but the computer system is slow, glitchy, and riddled with security holes.
Oh, yeah.
Frustrating.
Totally. It would make it so much harder to do our jobs effectively
Yeah,
and provide that compassionate, efficient service that Canadians deserve.
precisely. Secure modern tools help us deliver better service, plain and simple.
Right.
Now get ready, because this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The strategy introduces two key concepts that might sound a bit technical at first,
Okay.
but they're actually super important.
Right.
Zero trust and an information-centric approach to security.
Okay, let's break those down.
Okay.
Zero trust. That sounds kind of intense, like we shouldn't trust anyone.
It's not about being paranoid,
Okay.
but it is a big shift from the old way of thinking about security. In the past, the focus was on building a strong perimeter around your network,
Right.
like a castle with high walls and a moat.
Yeah.
But in today's world, that's not enough.
Because attacks can come from anywhere,
Right.
not just from outside the castle walls.
Exactly. We've got people working remotely, using their own devices,
Right?
accessing data from all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The perimeter has become blurry.
Okay.
So Zero Trust says, we don't automatically trust any user or device, even
Mhm.
those within the government network.
So every time someone tries to access something,
Yeah,
their identity and permissions are verified,
exactly.
regardless of whether they're in the office or working from home.
Right.
No more assuming that everyone inside the castle is automatically good.
Precisely. It's about being proactive and verifying every step of the way.
Okay.
Now, the information-centric approach is all about putting the data itself at the heart of our security strategy.
Instead of just focusing on protecting the network,
Yeah.
we're focusing on protecting the information itself.
Exactly. It's about understanding where the most sensitive data resides, who has access to it, and how it's protected throughout its life cycle,
Okay.
no matter where it travels.
So it's like assigning a security detail to each piece of sensitive information, making sure it's always guarded, whether it's sitting on a server,
Yeah.
being transmitted across the network,
Right.
or being accessed by someone on their laptop.
A great way to put it, and this approach recognizes that not all data is created equal.
Okay.
Some information like healthcare records or social insurance numbers requires a much higher level of protection than others.
That makes sense. So we need to classify data based on its sensitivity
Yes.
and apply the appropriate security controls.
Exactly.
No more one-size-fits-all approach.
Right on. Of course, we can't forget about the risk of insider threats,
Hmm.
whether intentional or accidental.
You mean like someone deliberately leaking information?
Yeah.
Or, let's be honest, accidentally clicking a phishing link? We've all been there.
We have, and the strategy addresses this head on,
Okay.
calling for robust security screening for new hires, ongoing monitoring of user activity,
Right.
and fostering a culture where people feel comfortable reporting suspicious behavior.
So it's about background checks, keeping an eye out for anything unusual,
Yeah,
and creating an environment where people feel safe speaking up if they see something that seems wrong.
exactly. It's a multi-layered approach, and it underscores a really crucial point.
Okay.
Cybersecurity is not just the responsibility of the IT department. It's a shared responsibility across the entire public service.
We all have a role to play in protecting sensitive information
Absolutely.
and ensuring those vital services Canadians rely on are available and secure.
And that shared responsibility is a key theme that runs through the entire strategy. It's about creating a culture of security where everyone understands their role and takes proactive steps to protect information.
So it's about moving beyond just technical solutions
Right.
and recognizing that the human element is critical. We need to be aware, vigilant, and empowered to make smart choices.
Precisely. And that brings us to the strategy's call to action. It's not just a document to be filed away.
Right.
It's a roadmap for change.
Yeah.
It encourages all public servants to actively engage in cybersecurity initiatives within their departments and stay informed about evolving threats.
So this isn't just about reading a document and checking a box.
Right.
It's about taking ownership of security within our own spheres of influence.
Exactly. Ask questions, challenge assumptions, and be proactive. If you're involved in buying new software, don't just assume the vendor has security covered.
Yeah.
Ask about their practices, their incident response plans.
Make security a key part of the conversation, not just an afterthought.
Precisely. And if you're handling sensitive information, make sure you're following the right procedures.
So those data classification principles we discussed earlier,
Yes.
making sure we're not treating all data the same.
Exactly. And remember, if something seems off, a weird email,
Yeah.
an unusual login attempt, report it. Don't think, oh, someone else will take care of that.
Right.
You might be the first line of defense.
This all ties back to how we as public servants make a difference in the lives of Canadians every day.
Absolutely.
If we're not taking cybersecurity seriously, we're putting those vital services and the people who depend on them at risk.
That's a powerful point. This strategy isn't just about protecting data.
Right.
It's about protecting the trust Canadians place in their government.
And that trust is essential for a well-functioning society.
Absolutely. When people trust their government to protect their information,
Yeah.
they're more likely to engage, participate, and contribute to their communities.
So strong cybersecurity isn't just a technical issue.
Right.
It's fundamental to building a strong and healthy democracy.
Well said. It's about ensuring that the digital world works for Canadians, not against them. And that's something we can all be proud to be a part of.
Now, before we wrap up, there's one more aspect of this strategy that I think is incredibly powerful. It's about how cybersecurity can actually empower us to be better public servants, to make an even bigger difference in the lives of Canadians.
Right.
Ready to explore that.
Absolutely. Let's dive into that in our final segment.
All right, so we've talked about the challenges, the goals, and the actions outlined in this strategy, but you mentioned that cybersecurity can actually empower us as public servants. I'm curious to hear more about that.
Think about it this way. When our systems are secure, reliable, and user-friendly, it frees us up to focus on what really matters, serving Canadians.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection.
Yeah.
If we're constantly battling tech issues, dealing with data breaches, or struggling with clunky systems, it's going to be that much harder to do our jobs effectively.
Exactly. Strong cybersecurity removes those obstacles and allows us to focus on our core mission. Let's say you work in a department that provides financial assistance to seniors.
Okay, I can see where you're going with this.
If your systems are vulnerable to cyber attacks, it could lead to delays in processing applications, disruptions in payments, or even worse, breaches of sensitive personal information.
Right.
That creates stress, anxiety, and hardship for the very people we're trying to help.
It would undermine the trust that those seniors have in us to provide those essential services.
Exactly. But with robust cybersecurity measures in place, those risks are minimized. Applications are processed smoothly, payments are made on time, and personal information is protected. That peace of mind allows you as a public servant to focus on what matters most, providing compassionate and efficient service to those seniors.
It's about knowing that the technology is working for us, not against us. That's empowering.
It is. It allows us to work more effectively, build stronger relationships with the people we serve, and ultimately have a more positive impact on their lives.
So strong cybersecurity isn't just about protecting data. It's about protecting our ability to do our jobs well and make a real difference.
Precisely. It's about creating a digital environment where public servants can thrive and focus on their core mission, knowing that their systems and data are secure.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. We've explored the strategy from all angles, and I feel like I have a much better understanding of not just the what, but also the why behind it.
And hopefully this conversation has sparked some ideas and inspired you to think about how you can champion cybersecurity in your own work.
For our listeners, I encourage you to revisit the GC Enterprise Cybersecurity Strategy. It's not just a document. It's a call to action for all of us to step up and be part of the solution.
Remember, cybersecurity is not just an IT issue, it's everyone's responsibility.
And by embracing that responsibility, we can create a more secure, resilient, and trustworthy digital government for all Canadians. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay secure.